Okie dokie. Hey, Bruiser's getting a little something done here. You know, I'm a tinkering fool, and Bruiser just always needs stuff, man. And so, my throttle body, this is a throttle body 350. So even though it's a square body, in 87 or 88, the trucks changed. Because in 88, they went to what they call the OBS, and this is like the OBS, the old body style. This is the old body style. Everybody knows, all the bow tie fans know that this is a square body. So they started making it in 1973. They made it all the way, I think the trucks in 87, the trucks changed to what they call the OBS, which was the same from like 87 to 99, something like that. Anyways, when the trucks changed in 87, the Suburban did not. Or maybe it was 88. The trucks changed in 88. So trucks were a square body from 73 to 87. 87 was the last square body for the trucks. The Suburbans stayed square body for 89, 90, and 91. So the Suburbans and the Blazers, they became OBS in 92. But one thing that's cool, so this does not have a carburetor, because when the trucks changed from square body in 1988, their first year of the OBS, out of the square body style, they went from a carburetor to a throttle body fuel injection, which is basically like an electronic carburetor. It has a map sensor and an EGR valve and shit like that, and it checks all that stuff, and it decides how much gas to put into the throttle body. It uses timing, it has O2 sensors, all that nonsense to feed the computer the information it needs to determine how much fuel to pump. Anyways, with a carburetor, you don't have that. You just got 7 PSI, whatever. So with that being said, I have a throttle body 350 stroked out and bored over to a 383. I have the 350 TBI. Sprung a leak. The housing in my throttle body had a crack in it right back in here somewhere. I'm not really sure where, but it is a crack in the housing. I at one point I had repaired it years ago, because it runs on like 13 PSI. I had repaired it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago with JB Weld, kept running it. Anyways, I came across a while later, because I am doing, eventually, I'm doing I have the Vortec heads here already with LS6 springs, a Vortec manifold. And I also have a cam, see? I think I probably showed this before. I got lifters and a cam that I'm going to change this out with. So I have a 454 throttle body, because I'm going to need a lot more air. It's going to be moving a lot more air. I've had this 454 throttle body for quite some time. This is just a long way of me saying there's my 350 throttle body, and there's the 454 throttle body. They look very much the same, and they are very much the same, except for 2 things. Now, I've read a lot, a lot of people say, yeah, you could throw the 454 throttle body on there, but the thing is, the change is on the bottom. This is the throttle body. These are the injectors. The injectors are a little different. I think these are like a 90-pound injector or an 88-pound injector, and these are like, I don't remember. But the 350 injector is good, up to like 670 CFM. So anyways, on this vehicle, I do have, I got long tube headers that come straight out to side pipes. So it moves a lot of air. I have zero restriction there, 3-inch. I don't have an H pipe yet, but I'm gonna put one. And then I have a little high-rise intake that I put on there long ago. And it is a throttle body intake, not a carb intake. So I say, you know, this thing, the little JB weld repair I did 4 or 5 years ago, finally just, I mean, it was a bullshit repair. Anyways, it is now defunct and it was spraying out. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this 454 throttle body on there. Some people say you can do it. Some people say you need it tuned. Some people say, why? Because you don't move enough air to utilize that. I do move enough air, and I'm not gonna change injectors. I'm just gonna put the 454 throttle body on there. If it's too much, I pull the 90-pound injectors off, put my 70, I don't remember what they are. I think they're 76 or 78-pound injectors, something like that. I just put those back on. It doesn't matter. I think what would really matter is the volume they pump, not the pressure, because the pressure is low. It's below 15 or below. This is why I did it. On the bottom here, because I'm gonna need it eventually. I don't remember the exact, this is the bottom of the 350 throttle body. This is the bottom of the 454 throttle body. You can tell these are the butterflies. I think these are 1 5/8 or 1 3/4. I can't remember. I can put a tape on it. I will put a tape on it. I'll put a tape on it. I'm gonna put a tape on it. So we're gonna burn 1 inch. We'll burn 2 inches. Roughly 1.3 inches. Burn 2 inches, inch. That's roughly 1 3/4 or so. Inch, about 1 3/4. Burn 2 inches. These are 2 inches. See if I can put it there. That is, I think it's really like 1 15/16 inches, but it's about 2 inches. So these are 1/4 inch bigger than those. That's a lot more air. That's good. If it's too much air, it doesn't matter. It's only gonna, all this will do is say that the throttle body is not the choke point. You can have more air, it'll only suck what the cam can pull through. The only deal with this is, one of the reasons you can't put it on there is because when you go to, when you go to open your butterflies, that plate, that throttle plate hits on the 1 3/4 hole right there, because it's not, that hole is not big enough to accept the 2-inch throttle plate. But everybody has a throttle body spacer. I had one. I ended up taking this up to work, so it's good. So I ended up taking this up to work and putting it on the drill press with a Forester bit. It was exactly the same size as those butterflies. You line these holes up where the bolts are going to go. Now you can see how much bigger it is. I drilled it out, so now it will fit. This is good. See, I don't have it lined up, but that's good. Now those butterflies, the butterflies will open, or the throttle plate, whatever you want to call it. So now the throttle plate will open, but it doesn't matter, because those holes right there are still 1 3/4. I'm not gonna, I got up there and ground them, so I did a little porting so that it's a little smoother transition. I beveled the edge, rounded it off, so there's a better transition, so that it's not gonna get, the air coming in is not gonna get all crazy turbulent. It ought to still suck through. So we're gonna see what kind of difference that makes. I'm just gonna throw the 454 throttle body on there, and I'm just gonna start it. The only difference is on your, the throttle position sensor that was right there, I already took it off, and it goes right there. Basically the housing's the same, but what is different, this is your idle air control valve, and it does its thing right inside there, that little spring. There's a motor in here that pushes that plunger in and out, and that controls your idle. this one, so you can see this one is mounted, I think they call this a meta pack. I can't remember, but you can see the plug is an inline 4 in a row, and it's mounted with 2 little torque screws. This one on the 350 is a something pack, Versa pack, I can't remember, but it's a 4 plug in a square, and it screws in. So obviously we can't take this off and put it in there. You can look and look and look for a wiring diagram, because what you can do is if you can get this pigtail, the plug with loose wires, and then you can just, you know, up here you can just cut that one if you want. This is the one that plugs in. You can cut these wires here and wire it into a new pigtail. But I found out that they have an adapter that has that female end. It has this. One side looks like this, and the other side looks like that, which is pretty awesome, because I don't like spending money. I like soldering and welding and making shit and, you know, just getting sketchy on this motherfucker. But it was like $11, so I ordered it, and I'm gonna plug it up and I'm gonna put it together. I figured this would be a good time to do an EGR block off, but because the new intake does not have an EGR, so I'm gonna have to bypass the EGR. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm just gonna throw this 454 throttle body on there, and I'm gonna start it up. Maybe it idles, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it runs, maybe it doesn't. I have no idea. But I look on there on the internet to see if anybody's done this, and some people are like, oh yeah, it worked great. And some people, but they don't explain shit. My buddy did that and it worked great. Other people are like, you need a tune on the computer. The computer is so simple on this thing, you don't need to tune shit. Plus, it doesn't even have an automatic transmission anymore, but the computer thinks it does. I still don't have a check engine light. The vehicle speed sensor is on the 700 R4s. It goes from the transmission to the computer, and then goes from the computer to the dashboard. About every 5th time I drive it, the check engine light comes on and says, hey, I don't have a vehicle speed sensor signal. Who cares, man? So I'm gonna slap this on there, we'll start it up, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be like, bruh, this is what happened. So you'll have a definitive answer if this is something you're trying to do, and if you ever find this thread, which is just a bunch of rambling nonsense. And I don't have any cool music in the background either. I'm gonna slap this on there, I'm gonna plug that plug in, that adapter, and I'm gonna fucking turn the key, and we're gonna see what happens. Because that's how you learn. You do it, you figure it out, see what happens. I bet I'm gonna smoke the tires.